kind of a developing arc over time. I mean, in 2016, Trump ran an explicit kind of populist platform, mirroring nationalistic talking points, talking about illegal immigration, which was a pertinent issue. And people still have that issue, but now it's expanded because, first off, not only was Trump rather incompetent, in my opinion, he didn't really get the things done that he promised in 2016, which left the base feeling hungry. 2020, whole fiasco, whatever you think about that. And then by 2024, after 4 years of being crushed under Biden just for their ideological beliefs, the right was very angry. They felt unsatisfied with what Trump provided, and now they see the further demographic change of their nation. They see the further dispossession of white people culturally, demographically, etc. And at this point, when you say, "Oh, they're brown," well, listen. Now there's 50 million visa holders, and you have far more legal immigration than you do illegal. And the legal immigrants, over half of them are on welfare. Like 90% of them are non-white, and except for Koreans, Japanese, and Chinese people, basically all of them have higher violent
What?
crime rates. So, so,
Sorry.
so,
What?
so
What
to
about
end what I'm
Wait.
saying,
Sorry. I want to go. What were you saying about under Trump they felt unsatisfied? Was that it? Trump's first
I
term?
said it post-Trump because he was very incompetent his first term. He didn't really get anything done. He picked the wrong staff, or I mean, you can make the argument Trump was a bad actor in the first place, maybe, but even if he wasn't, he had completely incompetent staff, around him, his administration. Trump v1, and they didn't really get anything pertinent done. They never built the wall. They built like 50 miles of new wall. That was one of the biggest points.
You're saying that like these people are like seeing immigrants into their communities, and so now it makes sense like why they're mad about culture.
Yeah,
But
people
like
should feel that way.
most immigrants are in cities, which are liberal communities, and they're wanting to protect them.
Okay, well, first off,
Like, is Minneapolis a liberal city?
Okay, dude, you're just
Is
objectively wrong there,
is
dude.
Minneapolis?
Florida,
Wait, is
hold on.
Minneapolis a liberal city?
Okay, well, dude, well, I'm telling you, for example, Florida and Texas are both top 5 in illegal immigrants in the country for states. They're both solid red. They have plenty of illegal immigrants, and Texas as well. Texas is basically colonized. It's hardly even white anymore. For as much as they're conservative and a whole, we have our gun rights here, man. They have
What does race
mosques
have to do
there.
with race? What do you think colonization is?
Oh, sorry, ethnic
colonization?
cleansing. Let me say
Ethnic cleansing. Oh shit.
Yeah.
What do you think? What is ethnic cleansing?
When you displace one population with another, you forcibly displace another population. If you were to say, for example,
Doesn't ethnic cleansing have a?
Well, I would say what's happening in America is ethnic cleansing. Yes, of white people.
Like, how could you even start to say that's even ethnic cleansing? Sorry.
Well, for example, I mean, like you would say that what? I mean, the Trail of Tears was ethnic cleansing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that wasn't really through violent methods. Only like a few thousand people died in the Trail of Tears. But it was a displacement, right?
White people are we like purposely like shipping off white people to die and like?
Well, how about the fact?
Yeah. So, like I don't remember.
Hold on. Hey, let's play stupid here. Hey,
removal
ready?
of ethnic, racial, or religious groups in a area to make
let
it.
Me read the.
Oof.
Yeah, let me read Wikipedia, right? Because that's not biased. But hey, okay, let me talk.
But like, no, you can like redefine words to try and like buzz to like signal
I'm
because
trying,
you're mad that like
to answer you.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. That's fine. If you want to redefine words because you really don't like the fact that the way that ethnic cleansing is actually defined, it doesn't suit what's happening right now. That's fine.
Hey, scratch, right?
Wait. I just want to be clear. Wait. Do you think that the majority, like a lot of cities, large cities within Texas are blue?
Well, that's. I think it's a nationwide issue, dude. It's.
I know. I'm asking you. Like generally, even in red states, most cities are blue.
The H-1B fiasco is mostly right-wing people, dude.
I'm asking you to answer the question. Even in like red states, most cities are blue, like large cities.
I mean, large cities, sure.
Yeah. What do you think? Where do you think most immigrants go?
Dude, they have Muslim communities and
mosques
and Hindu temples in Texas. Those are not in the big cities. Those are independent, small communities. Look up Frisco, Texas. Frisco, Texas.
No, the problem. Wait. My problem is that you're trying to say that like people.
Okay, dude, hold on. I want to say
no. Your argument doesn't make sense. If you're trying to say the reason, it literally doesn't. If you're trying to say that the reason that people, yes,
population went from 90% white to 57% in 50 years. No, because you're telling me no. Because I'll tell you.
We're talking about within the last 4.
No. Okay, let's ignore the demographic change before then, right? Hold on, scratch. I'm trying to tell. I will
Can I
let you finish, absolutely, but let me say
finish?
one thing,
Okay,
just so I can
so you're not gonna let me
clarify.
finish. So
I
your
absolutely will.
argument
I just
literally
want
makes no
I
sense.
can
If you're trying to
clarify
say that the reason that
I will tell you why it
people are
makes
more
sense. If you
concerned
just let
about
me talk for 2
culture
seconds.
is because
I will
they're seeing
tell
these
you
people
why it
move
makes
into their
sense.
communities,
Okay,
then
Jesus
why are
Christ.
liberal communities
I will
defending
tell you
illegal
why it makes
immigrants
sense.
who are
I will
white?
tell
Who
you
are
why.
white? That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, yeah, if you let me talk for 2 seconds, I'll tell you, okay? So because it's not just under Joe Biden. This goes back to, for example, look at the Hart-Celler Act when it was passed in 1965. At that time, America was 85 to 90% European.
You're moving off the point.
Wait,
nope, you're moving off the point. Nope, you're moving.
I am
so
not.
The point, no, we're talking about the past.
I am not.
We're talking.
No,
Yes, we're talking about that past 8 years.
Talking about the last 4 years?
Wait, when you originally wait. Last chance.
I'm sorry.
Let's ask. When you originally came up here,
No, that's not what I said.
When you originally came up here, did you specifically say that the narrative that I had on screen for like the changing of like Mega's views on immigration, you think was kind of wrong over the past 8 years? And you specifically brought up the example. No, you specifically brought up the example that immigrants coming in under Biden. It's immigrants coming under Biden. The reason that people was happening we're talking about culture. Then why did you only wait? Then why did you only limit it to 2016 to 2024?
Hey, dude, if you actually just let me talk for 2 seconds, I've been trying to answer you for 5 minutes, dude. Let me talk for literally 30 seconds, I'll tell you. Because first off, this goes before 2016. This has to do overall.
So you're changing your point. Cool.
No, I'm not. Overall, it has to do with demographic change. That's one of the first things I said when I came up here. One of the first things I said is demographic change is what's driving this. The demographic and cultural change and replacement of European Americans. And what you find is, like I said, in 1965, okay, the Hart-Celler Act is passed, loosening non-European immigration.
Like
I am not. This is completely pertinent to what we're talking. It's not.
You're so hard pivoting. You're so
okay. Do you know? Okay, so background knowledge is pivoting. What I'm talking about is, when you see, wait, why do you think it went from illegals to all brown people in 12 years? It's because it got worse. The demographic replacement got worse. That's why legal immigration started bleeding into everywhere in the country. And yeah, guess what? You're having small communities that are absolutely turned literally over half non-white. This is happening all across the country. You have immigration processes going into small Montana towns. It's not just big cities. Yeah, it might be hubbed in big cities, but it's going all over the place now. What I'm telling you, this is not moving the goalposts. This is the core of the issue. You don't understand what I'm even saying. That's what I'm telling you. This doesn't even make sense. This doesn't even make sense. Yeah, I'm sure it doesn't. No,
it just literally doesn't. We saw a decrease.
I'm sure it doesn't to you.
No, it doesn't. We saw a decrease in illegal immigration over from 2007 going into the Trump.
Illegal is not nearly the issue. It's mostly legal.
But Trump ran on illegal immigration. That's what everybody was talking about. And this change from illegal to culture. Can I finish?
I acknowledge that.
Happened into 2024, and then you took it in a time frame that these people were moving into the other communities, and that's why people were doing this. And also, my claim was, okay, why do we see it where it's in liberal communities that white people are defending immigrants if it's, in general, white people who are always going to get mad at them? Why are those communities defending immigrants?
Okay, name me the large liberal city, or many of them at this point, that are even 60% white.
Minneapolis? Like what?
What's Minneapolis? You might be right.
What does the 60% white matter?
Yeah, it does, because your politics radically change when you're not a white city anymore. Almost every single racial group, let's not be obtuse here, every single racial group votes normally at least half, if not more, if not like 90% Democrat. There's 2 exceptions, for example, Hispanics one time under Reagan and last year voted like half Republican. Besides
Minneapolis is 58 to 60% white.
Okay, yeah, so that's probably one of the whitest large blue cities in the country.
And they're vehemently defending immigrants in their communities. So can you
I guess they are, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. So if your claim, right, this doesn't really make sense. If your entire claim is that
all white people,
your claim literally doesn't make sense. If we're seeing, right, immigrants and people tend to go into the areas with most job opportunities that tend to be cities. Those cities tend to be liberal cities, and those liberal cities and the white people in them tend to be overwhelmingly liberal and defend the immigrants in those communities. And you're trying to say that what we're actually seeing, that these people are creating like some kind of cultural conflict, which are driving people to have these more radical views. I don't see that. What I actually see is that Donald, huh?
It's so funny.
What's so funny about it?
Your entire worldview is just, well, no, that can't be right because there's white liberal people who defend it. What the fuck are you talking about?
No, your entire argument. No. That's not what I said. That's not what I said, bro. You think I just said, there's one example of like some white liberal people defending it?
Of course, that's not all you're saying. But what
your entire argument literally rests on these people moving into communities and then white people getting mad that they're in them and seeing like some kind of like ethnic displacement.
White people have consistently voted to stop immigration at every single point for the last half century, and it's never been honored. Why do you think that is? They've been consistent about that.
Is that true?
Yes.
What's your source on that?
What's my source? You can look even when the Hart-Celler Act got passed. That was never voted on, by the way. But when it was passed, you had Ted Kennedy, one of the
Wait,
top
what's your
senators, and
source?
even I'm fucking telling you right now. Jesus, like, do you ever let people talk? I'm telling you live right now. Lyndon Baines Johnson literally said that this will not be a monumental bill changing the demographics of this nation. Ted Kennedy, a senator, said the same thing about the Hart-Celler Act in '65 because it was loosening non-European immigration. I think the next 10 years or so, the white population lowered 10%,
Wait?
and then
What's your
okay, so
source?
what's my fucking source? It's
Yes.
literally his quote.
I mean,
It's
do you
his
think
quote.
wait? Do you think you can use a quote to know what like white people want from one person?
Okay, why would
The
Lyndon
majority of white
Baines
people.
Johnson have to
Wait, can you use a
reassure the
one
nation?
quote?
Hold
Wait,
on,
can you use
hold
one?
on,
No,
hold
answer
on.
that
I'm asking you a
question.
question. I'm
Answer. No,
asking you.
I answer. I asked you a question. Can you use one quote from one white person to tell what most white people in
Hey,
the
what
country
was that
want?
quote? Hey, what was the quote? The
Can you
quote
use one
was.
quote? Can you answer the question?
Are you even listening?
Can you
Did you
answer that
listen to
question?
anything I said? Because the quote is clearly telling.
Okay. Can you use one quote? Can you use one quote from one white person to tell what the opinion of white people on immigration is?
Oh yeah, you think 1965 America
Okay,
wanted
I'm gonna
mass
let you try
immigration?
that
They
again
had
because that was not an
segregated
answer to my
schools.
question.
They had
Okay, so
segregated
wait,
schools.
I'm
They
gonna
wanted
take
mass
this. I'm also
immigration.
gonna take this as dodge number one because you're not answering
You're
the question
so
and you're being
obtuse.
very close to being kicked.
You are so obtuse. It's insane. Hold on. I'm saying so. What? So what? You're what? Playing devil's advocate, saying how do you
I'm
know
not
they
playing
didn't
devil's
want it,
advocate.
dude? They had segregated schooling. You think white people wanted mass immigration, even non-white immigration, dude? In 1965, of fucking course they didn't want that, and that's why Lyndon
Oh,
Baines Johnson, the
you said
president.
no.
Hold on.
Oh,
Let me
you're walking
finish.
back your claim now. Now you're moving the
No, I'm not.
goalpost.
No, I am not.
Yes,
I'm
you
telling
said.
you
You
right
said
now.
that
No.
white people have
Okay,
always. You said
instead
that white
of
people have
trying to
always voted against
psychoanalyze what I'm saying,
immigration.
let me tell you. Let me tell you
Oh
instead
my
of trying to
gosh! Now you're
psychoanalyze
changing
me.
it too.
No, I am not at all. I'm literally going to repeat what I said in the first place. Lyndon Baines Johnson said,
I don't care what
quote,
Lyndon Baines Johnson
okay,
said.
you don't care
That
what the
doesn't indicate
president
he's
said.
not
You
the
don't care what
spokesman of all
the
white people.
president had to reassure the
Guys,
population
Lyndon B.
that this would
Johnson, the
not change the
spokesman of all
demographics.
white people, said this. It
He
must
had
be
to
true.
reassure the nation it wouldn't change the demographics.
Lyndon B. Johnson said something, therefore it must be true.
Hey, why did he have
I never
to?
thought about that. I never thought about
so I guess
that.
okay, so I guess I'm just gonna talk over you and I'm not gonna listen to you. So I'm saying, listen.
I really don't care what you have to say because
Okay,
you haven't
cool.
answered.
This
You
is
haven't
just
answered the
leftism.
question.
I've given you plenty of historical examples. You just spew off every single thing. Oh yeah, who cares, bro? Who cares?
Hey guys.
Okay, so yeah, okay, cool. I'm telling you, why would he say the quote itself? Listen to the quote. He said, "This will not massively change the demographics of this nation." Why would he have to reassure the nation of that?
Obama said something that must speak for all black people, guys.
Okay, cool. So let's just be obtuse.
You literally never answer my question. Do you want to answer my question? Because I'll answer your questions if you answer mine. So I'm going to ask it again. Do you think that one white person is the spokesman for all white people?
Did I fucking say that?
I'm asking. Can you answer the question?
Who the fuck said that? No.
Can you answer the question?
Who the fuck said that?
Can you answer the question?
Who said that? Nobody said that. No.
Can you answer the question? No, you can't answer the question. So
I
asked you first.
no.
I asked you for source because you made the statement that white people, that white people have always voted against immigration, right? And I asked you, okay, what's your source? And you said Lyndon B. Johnson. I was like, okay, so you're basically saying that Lyndon B. Johnson saying this one quote would equate for white people over the past when saying this. Okay,
what is
really
my source that white people voted against immigration? Are you fucking serious?
Have always voted against immigration. Yes, you said that.
Do you live in La La Land?
You always said that. You said that.
What do you think the right wing has been? Who
You've
do you
always
think
said that.
right wing people are?
You've always said that.
Who do you think right wing people are?
Can you answer the question?
Okay, this is
you did say you literally said okay, so you do admit you said that now.
Let me talk to hold on, dude. Okay, stop spazzing out for wait, hold on. Just let me tell you something real quick. So this is literally you are clearly portraying the absurdity of modern leftism. Here's an example of it, okay? You want to sit here and ask me, and I'm more than happy to bring sources of studies of things I'm referring to, specific historical examples or data, whatever. I'm cool with that. You're saying, tell me the source that white people opposed immigration historically. Are you fucking serious? Are you serious?
Up to now, yes. You said white people up to now always opposed immigration.
You cannot objectively tell that white people oppose non-white immigration. Are you
serious?
Just,
I'm asking for your source of that. Can you?
They had segregated schools 50 years ago.
Can you give me that? You said up to now.
So okay, where would you like me to start with the long history of Europeans not wanting non-European?
You said up to now. So just show me that up to now, like
I said historically, yes, absolutely. Well, the right wing has been entirely driven. The right wing has been entirely driven by white people. Historically, always. Who do you think has been opposing the non-European immigration? It's been white people. Always. I'm sorry, you need sources for that? Who do you think it's been?
Europeans oppose non-European immigration.
That's literally what I'm saying. White
Europeans
people,
oppose
European.
European immigration. Europeans have just opposed immigration in general.
Well, in a sense, I mean, like for example,
Just
in
that's
like
just
the hearts.
true. Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, with Ellis Island as an example, they like yes, in 1922 they like this they did sign legislation that restricted yes, even Southern European immigration. However, even then, it was a lot. If you actually look back and research, they don't really teach you about this. A lot of the issue actually, for example, was Eastern European Jews, but yeah, at the time, yeah, there was Italian and Irish mobsters. But the thing is you saw within a couple generation, those children and their children really became American, and now Italian and
What
Irish
does it mean?
Americans are
Really became
indistinguishable from white
American? What does it
Americans.
mean to be
Let,
American?
let me finish. Oh my God. Can you ever not interrupt me, dude? I'm just trying to explain something to you. Like, okay. So listen, I'm saying that Italians and Irish, yes, there was a culture shock at first. Yes, some of them were criminals. I'm very honest about that. However, within like a generation or two, they literally were, especially by now, they're basically indistinguishable from the average white American. And the thing is that we also have tells about this. You want a source? Here's a source. You can look up, I think it was Abu Bakr Singh was his name. You had an Indian man who tried to sue to become a U.S. citizen when they only were allowing white Americans as
That's
U.S.
not a
citizens.
source.
And okay, I'm telling you a federal court case right now. I'm literally telling you a
The
federal
federal
court
court
case.
case doesn't.
Okay. Okay. Oh my God. Maybe let me finish.
court
You
case
don't know what I'm
isn't
going to
gonna
say.
do this,
You don't
dude.
have no idea what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Let me finish.
I'm betting $5
Okay.
is not irrelevant to
Okay.
the
Okay.
point,
Cool.
man.
So I think his name was Abu. It was like something Singh. If you just look up U.S. versus Singh, like 1898 or something like that, and it was an Indian guy who sued the United States, saying that he should classify as white because of like ancestral step ancestry, claiming he's Aryan or whatever. And they said no because he is not European. However, at the time they were accepting other European migrants. There's other examples where Chinese,
Okay,
where
that
Japanese people.
that wasn't proving your claim.
They were literally explicitly saying that white people could be citizens and non-white
the Supreme Court
couldn't.
making the Supreme Court isn't the spokesman for all white people.
It was
once
based
again.
on race. It was federal.
And
U.S.
think-
historical examples that they
really
opposed
okay, like
non-European
for
immigration.
instance, wait,
Okay,
Roe v.
I
Wade just
literally-
got
that is a
wait,
direct
Roe v.
answer to
Wade
your
just got
question.
wait. The Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade a little bit ago, and
You
the
asked for
majority of
historical
Americans are
examples that
pro-abortion.
white people opposed immigration.
No, I asked you to
non-European
prove your
immigration.
original claim, which is that white people have literally, you said like always, and even up till now, been against immigration and voted that way.
Okay, dude, do you think
That's
I
so much I was
literally
asking
meant
you.
all? Okay, dude, hold on. Do you think I quite literally meant all white people were? No, I'm saying, but it was.
No, you say
driven by
all white
white-
people, the majority. You said.
Dude, there's no way you've been pressing me for 5 minutes over that. You seriously thought I
You
meant
said the
every
ma-
white person?
No,
Are
you
you
said the
fucking
majority.
serious?
No, you said the majority of white people have always voted
I
against
said it was
immigration.
driven by majority white people. Of course it was. I said, dude, what do you think I meant? I said white people have been driving it. Yes. Who
You
is
said
the
you said the
right-wing man?
majority of white people have always driven it. That was
I
your
didn't say the
entire claim.
majority of white people. I
Yes, you
said
did.
white
That makes
people
it makes
have been
sense that you
driving
weren't able to correct the conversation, nor like answer any of the
it. Oh
questions
my
I originally
God! Like
asked
you literally just misheard me and been trying to.
I didn't miss it. You get nice. You can try and slime
What
out
I
this point. You
said
just
was
that's what you
very
said.
clear. Okay. So you can just overtalk me, or I can clarify it to you. What I said was this. I will repeat it again.
Go ahead.
I
Slime
said
your
that
your
white.
point.
Oh my God! I'll tell you the quote of what I said. I said white people have driven the drive to opposing immigration. That's what I said. White people have. I didn't say all white people. I didn't say even most white people, because I guess that would be a little hard to quantify. But there's no doubt about it. White
You
people
literally
have
said
been
the
at the
majority.
forefront of
You were literally saying
opposing
like the
it.
majority of white people would do this.
Okay, dude. So
And I was asking
like,
for a source on that specifically, and then
the source
you
for
just
what? Source for what?
and I was asking for a source on that, and then you just wouldn't give one,
Source for
and that's
what?
why I was asking it. And I repeated your claim. Oh, wait, I repeated your claim multiple times. Like for instance, when you asked me like, okay, have I ever said that like LBJ was like the spoken for all white people? I said no, you didn't say that, but you did say, and I repeated your claim, and you never correct me at like the 5 instances in which I prayed the claim that you made to me, and it's only
Because I literally, I didn't hear what you
conveniently,
said.
conveniently, it's only now that you decided to do that, which is fine. Look, you can slide
Conveniently, well, because you said
you can try and
because I was
slime your
very
way out of
clear.
the
I
point.
said
That's fine.
white people. Did you think I said all white people? The vast majority. I suppose
majority.
for a time it literally probably would have been a vast majority. Yes, but what I was quantifying, what I said in the first place was it was white people who drove the drive for anti-European immigration. Who else would it have been? Of course,
Just
that's
the majority.
true.
Look, once again,
It's objectively
you
a true
can, wait,
statement. That's what
you
I
can
said.
try and weasel. Well, I understand what you're saying now. You can try and weasel away a point. I
No,
clarified
that's
the
what I
point.
said in the
I
first.
clarify.
That's literally what I said. Run
Then
back
once
the tape.
again, I
Run
literally
back the tape. That
clarify.
is what I
I
said.
repeated your point back to
Run
you
back the
multiple
tape. That is what I
times.
said.
I repeated your point
Okay,
back to you
okay, dude,
multiple
that doesn't
times
make
in
what
that
I
exact
said
time, and you
different.
did not clarify, and you're only doing it now, and because you realize you made a really dumb fucking statement.
I didn't.
That's fine.
What are
You can
you
move the
talking
goalpost.
about, dude? Like, okay, hold on. My statement in the first place was this: that white people historically oppose anti-white
Wow.
immigration.
Oh
Who
my
the
God.
fuck else would have opposed
Okay,
it? Who,
just, can you
that
answer
is
this question? What
you
makes
are
somebody
the
an
dumbest
American?
motherfucker I've ever talked to in my life.
What
I
makes
cannot believe
what
this.
makes
Like,
somebody an
I-
American?
what
What makes
Americans
somebody
or
an
white people?
Okay, why are Americans white people?
because first off, they've been not only have they been historically defined as such, but they also founded the nation. They founded it for their posterior. Look at for example, our founding fathers. John Jay wrote in Federalist Chapter 2 that the nation was so special because it was one people with one common ancestry, one language, one religion. He was referring to European people broadly. I mean, maybe it's predominantly Anglos, but European people broadly. And also in the Naturalization Act of 1790, one of the very first thing the founding fathers ever voted on, they defined an American as, quote, any free white person of good character. Now, sure, that was later amended. I understand that. However, I would say that when you talk about an American, that doesn't necessarily mean that people can't be on the continent. I'm not, or the land. I'm not disputing the fact that American Indians have been on this land. I think they even have a right to this land. But I would argue they're not really American. They've never assimilated in any sense. And that's, and, you know, okay, power to them, man. They can stay on their their reserve if they like. But also Black Americans, I think in many ways, Black Americans haven't really assimilated. Yeah, have they been in this land? I think they have a all right claim
You
to it.
called
They've
them
been here for a very
American.
long time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying Black people
Did,
that live
question,
in.
why didn't the founding fathers like write this into the Constitution if they thought it was so important
They
to
did.
define American? So where
Well,
did
the
they write in the
17
Constitution?
Or well, sorry, well they wrote it in legislation. Excuse me, but
Which was really appealed. So I like if the founding fathers are so important to define like what an American is by race, but they didn't. They defined like
it's just happened that all of our founding
Huh?
fathers thought it
Well-
could only be white people. Like,
all of our founding fathers. You're making that statement. All.
okay, you are a semantic king, dude. Jesus Christ.
I'm asking
Yes,
you
will
before.
not-
I'm
you
gonna.
will-
I'm not. Wait,
you
wait.
will
You,
not
you
find
got
a
so
quote
wait.
from-
You got so
hold on,
pressed
I'll
last
answer you, I'll
time.
answer you.
You got so pressed last time that I'm just making sure because I know you like to walk back your statements.
Let's
I know
nip
you
it
like
in
to
the
walk back
butt.
your
Let's nip
statements.
it. Hold on. Let's nip it in the
Okay.
butt. No, you will not find a quote from every single founding father that yes, only white people
Okay.
can be American. Because, dude, holy shit,
Do you think
learn
it's the
how to have a
majority?
conversation like a human.
Do you
You're
think?
like Chat GPT, bro. Holy shit.
I
Learn how to have a conversation.
wait. Is it wait? You got pressed last time when you made a statement.
Press? Oh my god.
Yes,
because
you got
I'm
pressed
not
last.
talking to
You got pressed. You got pressed. I'm sorry. You can stop being the snowflake. I know
Your
it's really
only
hard for people.
pressing is
I know it's
over
really hard for
semantics and you
people.
miss
I
it.
know it's really hard for people who don't like Black people to do this. Okay, and I got really pressed last time. So I was just making sure that that's what you actually meant by all, because I was gonna press
You
you
have
on that
not
if you
debunked a
did.
single point
So,
I've made. You just argued about semantics or wording.
I'm not trying to argue about semantics, dude. Okay.
You literally
So
are.
do you
And by
think
the way,
you-
like,
do you
if
think the
you heard
majority-
it, can you stop for a
Can I
second?
make
Just
my
because,
point?
like, we're already
make my point?
past this. I literally said, I immediately said,
Can I make my point?
fine, if you want to be fucking semantic
Can I make
king
my
and like
point?
and be a fake human,
Can I
if
make
you
my
want to
point?
not be a human, yes, not literally.
It's just
every
semantics,
single
bro.
founding father
Guys,
wrote.
me walking off my point. It's just
Because when I
semantics, just to
say
be clear.
all the founding fathers thought they could be white people, like, bro, like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
not
and then I
literally
asked you
every single
before I immediately.
Okay,
I could have
Jesus,
I could have done
okay,
two things in that
whatever,
scenario.
okay,
Number one, I could have
okay.
asked you for a source that all founding fathers did that, but instead I said, okay.
And I immediately
what do you
said,
really
yeah,
mean
but
all?
maybe not every single one. Okay,
Yeah, so
congrats. Great
exactly.
fucking point. Great
I was so
fucking point,
wow. Look
dude.
at me being
Great
look at me
point.
being good
Wow, great
faith.
point, man. Like,
Look at me being good
so-
faith to you. Wow, to not
great fucking point.
Real.
Okay, do you think like? Okay, but if you don't walk away though, and being
think the
intellectually
majority-
honest and understand that the founding fathers absolutely believed that America should be for Europeans and their posterity, you're absurd. You're
Okay.
living in la la land.
So you think that the majority of founding fathers thought that this country should be for Europeans and their
Who else
posterity?
would they have thought it's for?
Okay, what's your source for that?
Okay, well, let's just use a little bit of logic for a second. Who else would they have thought the country was for?
Oh, can you answer the question and give me a source?
Well, considering they didn't give Native American or American Indians, they didn't give American Indians like citizenship.
That's dodge number
So
one.
the-
Can you give me a source that the majority?
I'm
of the founding
telling you right
fathers
now,
of
they
the
didn't give
country were
American
white?
Indians citizenship until the 1920s.
Dodge
They
number
were
two.
the
Can
only
you give me
other
a
group.
source? Can you give me a source? that they said that
Well,
the
I'm
majority-
telling you right now.
Parents
So
were
American
white.
Indians and Black people were the only other people on the entire land. They didn't give either one of those people citizenship till over 100 years after the country was
Can you give me a
founded.
source that
Clearly,
that are there other races than Indians and Black people?
in
Okay,
the
so can you give me a
1700s, no.
Can you give
in
me?
the se-
Can you
not-
give me?
not in
Can you
America?
give me? So can you give
Not
me
in
a s-
America
can
in
you
the
give me-
1700s.
Can you give
no.
me?
Like,
Can you give me a source that says that?
what source for what? What
The
source are you
majority-
asking for?
Just give me like quotes from the majority of founding fathers or something like that. They
I
do
told
that.
you, John Jay's chapter 2. He literally
Wow,
wrote in the Federalist Papers.
wow, God, one founding father said
One of the
something.
three writers
give
of the
me
Federalist Papers, one of the most important
a
documents in
single-
American
can you,
history.
Okay, so you
How
said the
much more
founding
intellectually
fathers.
dishonest could you be? The Federalist Papers is one of the most
How am I being
important
intellectually
documents in
dishonest? You
American
made a statement the majority of the founding fathers believe
history.
this.
I
I'm just
literally
asking
one
you
of
for
the
that. I'm just
three
asking
in
for that.
chapter 2 of the
You said the
Federalist
majority. Now
Papers,
you're
one of
citing
the
one. You
three-
can you just
You
get
asked
mad
for
when
an-
I
you said a
just get mad when I ask for a
source.
source and you walk back your claims. And you said the majority.
Okay, hey dude, hey, hold on. Give me
Like,
literally
it's just
15 seconds.
It's so sad
Can you not
every
interrupt- can you not-
time.
Can you not interrupt for 15 seconds? Okay.
Oh
You are
God.
asking me, hold on, ready? Let's clarify real quick. You are literally asking me for a source to tell you that the majority of the founding fathers believe this
Yes, because you
country should
made
be
that
for,
claim.
hold on, let me finish. Let me finish, dude. You interrupt every time I speak. Let me finish, and I'll tell you when I'm done. Do not interrupt until I'm done, okay? Because you interrupt me every single time.
My mistake. My big
Listen,
bad
dude.
limbs.
Listen, man. What I was saying is that you were asking me for a source right now that the founding fathers, the original founding fathers, they thought America should be for Europeans and their posterior as a country. You're asking for a source there, okay? First off, literally, let's just use some logic here. Who else would the country have been for in their eyes? Who else was here in large numbers? You had a couple of black slaves in incredibly small
People
numbers
who
and
believed
American
in
Indians
life,
who didn't get.
liberty, and pursuit of
I told you
happiness.
I'm not done. I'm not done.
That's
I'm
what we've
not
been
done.
for.
I am not done. American Indians did not even were the only other group here in sizable numbers at the time, and they didn't get citizenship till over 140 years later. So who the fuck do you think the Chinese Exclusion
People who
Act? It's like is it like
people who
there's so
believed
many
in the liberal
examples.
Enlightenment ideals.
Okay, so like again, okay.
Wait, did the
So
founding fathers believe in natural rights?
for I mean they said they absolutely had rights for white people. The Constitution
I
was
don't
written
wait
for white
when
people.
the founding fathers in the Declaration of Independence wrote about natural rights endowed to you by your creator.
They were
Did they
talking about
say
white people.
did they say, where does it say white people in the Declaration of Independence?
Well, considering they didn't give rights to anybody else, I think we can infer.
No, we can't.
No, we can't. We can't.
No,
Just,
does it say
they just
where does it
happened
where
to
in the
only give
Constitution does it say only for white
for
people?
100
Asterisk.
years they only gave rights to white people. That's just a coincidence, right?
And by the
It's
way,
just-
wait, it wasn't just
you are-
wait. By the way,
this is
it wasn't just
unbelievable.
white people that they didn't give rights to people who didn't own land either. So was it true that was America
yeah,
only
but-
built for white people who owned land? Then
Black men who owned land weren't citizens.
did white people who owned land were they not
Yes,
citizens then?
but black men who owned citizens
Okay, so
who owned land were not citizens.
okay. I just want to.
But
Do you think that?
but only white people could.
Do
is
you
the
think that?
point.
Wait, do you think that white people who currently own land shouldn't be Americans?
One more time?
Do you think that white people who currently don't own land shouldn't be considered as Americans?
No, there are people.
Shouldn't be considered as Americans. Do you think that?
There are people. Yeah, they're American.
They're American. Okay, so obviously you don't agree with the founding fathers and everything they believed, or at least that
They
you
didn't
believe,
think they weren't American. They just might not have been able to like have certain
have
rights.
certain rights like voting, the
Like run
entire
for
point of
Congress
it.
or something.
Wasn't the
yeah,
entire
like,
wait was oh wasn't the entire
a Christian could
Or being
a
able to-
person who
or
wasn't
being able to
Christian could have
vote.
run for
Oh.
Congress in most of the
or
most
being
of the
able to vote?
colonies.
Wasn't it literally a part like the entire thing about taxation representation? And now you're not able to vote. Isn't that like the entire thing? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So the problem is, right?
What does this have to do
the
with only
founding fathers,
giving rights to white people? What does this have to? What does this have to do with only giving rights to white people?
is that even true? Was
Because
white people
you
literally
asked me a
the only
question,
people?
you like you said it like it was a gotcha. You said, "Oh well, white people who were poor and didn't own land, they didn't have certain rights." Okay, but even black men who did own land didn't have rights ever. So that's actually the difference. They never could have been citizens. Only
Like,
white
once again,
people could.
black
That proves
people
my
aren't the
point.
only race who
Yeah,
exists.
American Indians weren't citizens till 140 years
Well,
after
but
the
Indians
country was
aren't the
founded.
only ones who exist either.
Dude, it was American Indians and black people. Who the fuck else do you think was here? There was nobody else here in
Hispanics?
1700. There was, dude, they were in the South. No fucking Mexicans were in the colonies in the 1700s, dude. Like,
You think there were any Hispanics in the?
oh my God, holy
In the
fucking
colonies?
literal, dude. Like, I don't know if there was a literal person with Hispanic blood in the entire colony. I don't fucking know, but they weren't really
probably-
there in any number.
There were probably there were probably some people who were either black or Indian or Hispanic.
They
who
didn't
also
have
had
rights.
who-
They didn't
who had
have rights.
I don't know. I'm guessing there were some, right? But just
No,
because
there
the founding-
wasn't.
wait,
They didn't
can I
have
finish?
rights. They didn't
Can I
have
finish?
rights because they were not white.
Can I finish? Just because the founding fathers, and I thought one of the big beliefs that like George Washington, and a lot of these people had is that the institution of slavery is bad, but that eventually it was going to end on its own. So I don't even know if that's entirely a true belief.
You
the
don't
founding
care about
fathers-
slavery. You care that
Huh?
white people did it. You don't care about slavery. You care that white people did it.
No, what I care about is the fact that the founding fathers like knew what when writing the Constitution that this would be like a document that would be like interpreted and looked at for years, and they didn't take the time. Neither even in like the Declaration of Independence, which wasn't even a legal document, to write that natural rights were only something that were endowed to white people because they didn't believe that. They thought that natural rights were something that
Oh,
were endowed to you,
Yeah,
that
they
were
just
endowed
wanted
to you
to be
by your creator,
multicultural.
and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
wait, by a creator,
They
and
wanted
they thought people.
you, who they thought was property, who thought was chattel, to be telling us about their politics. They thought you were chattel. You think they wanted you to be, have the same rights.
Apparently,
as
look,
them.
George Washington literally has a quote where he's talking about how he's talking about in the context of the First Amendment and how he wants people to be able to come here and practice religious
White people.
views. And, no, it was
Like,
about Muslims.
as citizens, yeah, it's like dude, like anybody else was here was either literally like driven off the land like American Indians or were enslaved like blacks. They were not. They were not equal.
I don't even think that's true.
It wasn't.
No,
Name the non-European who made a contribution in America prior to the Civil War ending, like who had the rights and who was doing these things in office and structural environments. Nobody. There wasn't.
Non-European, but
my point was in structural power. They weren't in institutional power whatsoever because they couldn't be.
They were like.
But like, do you understand how fucking stupid the point you're arguing is? You're literally trying to argue that the founding fathers were. You're trying to argue that the founding fathers, historically, America was not built for white people. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you serious? Like,
yeah.
Okay, so again, you're just
like
being
even
devil's advocate.
Like
not even the most.
Like the fact is like they knew these like documents will be looked at. The Declaration of Independence wasn't even something that was like a binding legal document. It was just like a letter to England telling them that we be independent, and they didn't ever like clarify or take the time to say like, oh, by the way, only for like white Europeans, LOL.
Only the Naturalization Act of 1790. Only the Naturalization Act of 1790 when they explicitly defined. Oh, when they all died, when they were all dead. Admit that was late. When 100 years later, when they were all dead, everybody who signed the document was dead. 100 years later, then it got repealed.
You admit that was appealed. Okay. And by the way, if we're going by the
when
act,
they were
once
all
again,
dead, 100 years later.
You have to say that the founding fathers didn't believe that people didn't own land should be citizens.
How is that a good point? Everyone who signed the document was dead. How is that a good point?
So was the country made for only white landowning people?
In their eyes, yes.
Landowning people too?
One more time?
White landowning people only?
Well, I mean, that could have been subject to change. I don't know, but specifically, they did define race.
They literally put that in there. Like, I don't know, unless if you think that the 1790
I'm saying when I say that could be the subject,
and what they was really founded on, then you'd have to say that.
I promise you. Okay, hold on, listen. I promise you, they would have been quicker to give rights to poor white people than blacks. I could promise you that.
Wait, I just want to answer this one question. Fourth. No, I just want to
do a fourth. Can I go fourth?
If you think that it was so important, if the founding fathers thought it was so important,
what world do you live in where you think
that this country was to be founded by white people? Why didn't they put the 1790?
Do you think that if you went in a time machine right now? Hold on, I want to ask you. I know leftists don't answer that question. Leftists do not deal with hypotheticals ever, but I'm going to ask you a hypothetical, okay? If you went in a time machine and you went back to 1790, and you presented this argument articulately, what do you think they would say? Do you think they would agree with your points? Do you think they would literally say, you don't have rights, you're a chattel? What do you think they would say? I'm asking you. Do you think they would agree with you, or do you think they would literally say he is a chattel?
I feel like the general sentiment is like, black people have like rights in the future, but just not right now because of
the economy. Really? Yes. Where did they say that? Huh?
Yes.
Where did they say that?
I think that would be different. But can you answer my question first?
Hold on. Wait, and by the way, let me say this real quick. In almost every instance where you see any of the founding fathers or like presidents or like historic Americans, white Americans, talking about like, oh, we want to abolish slavery, almost every single time it was in tandem with repatriation, with saying we should send black people back to Africa. Even Abraham Lincoln, the first ever meeting of an African group going to the White House was when they met with Abraham Lincoln's representatives in 1861 to discuss after the war where they would send black people when they were free. So it's like, it's not just that they never thought it was going to be legal, like living together legally. Like Abraham Lincoln wrote about this. He said that he didn't think that the two races could coexist in the same nation. He wrote letters about that. So what I'm saying is that in this, even in the ones who wanted to abolish slavery, it's because they wanted to send you out of a white country back to your home nation.
He later changed his opinions.
What?
He changed his opinions. That's just true.
How like ignorant are you going to be? Are you just going to in the face of all evidence, you're just going to keep telling yourself?
Literally what happens is that literally what happens at one, he start changing opinions over time, and two, he realized that
you weren't even considered an entire human, and you think that they would have considered you equal.
I literally gave my opinion.
3/5 of a human.
I literally gave my opinion on it.
You were considered 3/5 of a human.
That was literally I literally gave my opinion on it. Can you answer the question? If you thought if the founding fathers thought like this country, right, being found, its principles should be on being like white, then why didn't they put that into the Constitution?
Okay, well, I'm saying you could look at things like the Naturalization Act.
Why didn't they put that into the Constitution?
I think it was explicit. It went without saying that it was for white people.
Why didn't
It
they
was
put it in the
explicitly for
Constitution if
white
it's so
people.
important?
The First Amendment, gun rights. You think they would have given guns
The
to black
Constitution is
people?
the founding rights, literally
You
what
were
the
just being
founding figures of this
entirely ignorant.
country.
You were being
Well, I'm just
willfully
asking. Wait,
ignorant.
I'm just asking you.
You are
If the founding
being
fathers
will.
thought it was so important, right, for this
They
country to be
thought you
white,
weren't
they
a
might have.
human. They would
You
have
think
never
they put
given
it in
you a
the founding
gun.
document, right?
They would have never given you a gun. They didn't think you were
Why?
human.
Wait, why didn't they put it in the founding
You
document
live in
then?
La La Land. They didn't think you were human. You think they would have given you a gun just like a white person? You want
Wait,
you want to know what right? Oh, you want to know what right a white person did have, regardless if they had land, they could own a gun.
can you
They could
answer that
say what they
question?
want.
Wait, why wouldn't you?
Even a poor
If you
white person could own a gun. You
wait,
couldn't.
last chance. If you
Why?
wanted to found a country, right, on a white ethno state, would you write in the Constitution that it's for white people?
I think like that's like asking me. Right, hold on, wait, real quick.
I'm just
That's like
asking if you were
no,
founding
no,
a
no.
white ethno state, would
It's
you write in the
it's
Constitution for
analogous.
white people?
It's analogous. It's like saying, hold on, that's like making the same argument for saying, why did they not say you can't cross the border illegally in 1790? Maybe because illegal immigration wasn't even a concept back then. There was not a single multicultural country in the world back then. Even in the sense that there was, it would have been amongst
But
religious ones.
America wasn't founded on strong borders, though.
Dude, what do you? They
Do you think
literally
America was
it-
founded on strong borders? Do you
in
think
the
that was, like,
1860s, they
defining
deported
of
like a
America?
million. In the 1860s, they deported like a million Mexicans.
Do you think that was like a defining trait of America when it's founding strong borders?
Yes, they literally they kicked out the American Indians. Like they literally put them onto reservations so they could take the land.
Did they kick out the American Indians because they had like some fundamental principle against them like encroaching on their borders, or did they do it for like economic and social reasons?
They did it mostly because they were savages who would brutally.
Okay, so I don't like so just like stop lying about that. Like it wasn't.
Do you know
America
that
wasn't
Jamestown?
So
Oh,
wait.
okay, yeah.
So
Okay,
once
let's just
again,
talk over
if
me
you
then.
if you were
Let's just talk over
if
me
you were
then,
making a
right?
white ethno state, if you were making a white
Let's just
ethno
not.
state, would you put in the founding document that it was for white people?
Well, I think it goes without saying. They thought the people that weren't even human would never be citizens. I think
If
it kind
you
of goes
were
without saying.
if you were making a white ethno state, would you put it in the founding document that was for
Not a
white
single
people?
European country, and not in the entire world at the time, had given citizenship to a non-white person. I think it went without saying that it was for white people. You're just playing devil's
Can
advocate.
you answer that
If you're
question?
literally, dude, there was no reason to. Of course, it was for white people. It went without saying. If you can't see that, you're just being
Can you answer the
obtuse.
question? If you're making,
I told you no because there was no reason
if
to. It went
you
without
were
saying.
making, if you were making, I'm saying if you
No,
were making
not
a
in
white ethno state,
1700, not in
if you were making a white
1790. No,
ethno
because it would
state,
have went without saying. In 17, and if you
which would
did
have won
something
out
in,
saying a
hold on,
lot.
hold on. If okay, ready? So in 1804, if Napoleon Bonaparte passed a sweeping declaration in France, would he have to write that this only applies to French people, or would that go without saying?
When he wrote the what?
If Mao passed a policy in the 1950s, right? Would he have to write in policy that this only applies to Chinese people, or would that go without saying?
Yeah, because do you think Mao only believed in
Okay, well,
in
okay, maybe a
communism
more
for
historical
Han
example.
Chinese? That's like
Okay, well, hold on.
antithetical to
I
the
get that.
idea of
Hold on.
communism.
Actually, hold on.
What?
Hold on.
That's a terrible example.
I know how. Actually, I will kind of concede that one. But before that, I said Napoleon, though, which actually is a better example because Napoleon at the time there was not multiculturalism in France. It was French people. Okay, it was French. So like, if Napoleon made a sweeping declaration in 1804, okay, like why he would not have to write this is for the French people. It was for his countrymen. His countrymen were French. Okay, in Europe, in the global European diaspora, European people lived in South Africa, some lived in South America, some lived in America now, colonized in Canada. Like they didn't have to write this is for white people because it went without saying. Everywhere in the world, white people only lived amongst their own people. Why would they have had to write it any different in this sense? Because it just went without saying. The only other people on the continent in large numbers were two groups: American Indians, who they literally pushed off and basically like made into little enclaves like away from them, segregated from them, and Africans who at the time were seen as chattel. Okay, so like you are just playing devil's advocate and just being like, oh yeah, man, give me the sword,
just
dude.
like-
Like,
That's
what?
just
What are
not.
you?
That's just
Okay,
like not. That's just like not true. Sorry, like everything you're saying.
what is
just
not
like,
true? What is not true?
huh?
What's not true? What's
If
not
you're
true?
like, what? When Napoleon like writes a decree, of course it's for the people who are under his jurisdiction. But was Napoleon like a nationalist in the sense that he only wanted to do it for Frenchmen? Like wasn't his first
Who the
entire
fuck else do you
empire?
think he did it? Who else do you think he did it for?
Then the French Empire at that time, Napoleon's empire.
You think
Yeah.
he was doing like you hold on, like do you think that like Napoleon was driven by what he did being such a strategic wartime plan? I think all of that was for what? Like some random family on a far off village that he conquered along his ventures, or was it for the French people in his home that honored him and called him a king and he saved them? Who was it for? It was for the French people. Like are you just like
Wait,
are you
what are we
serious? Like,
using to say that? What are we using
do
to say
you
that
think
Napoleon's
human
some nationalist who believed in like a French? Like what are we using to say that?
this
Who's in
so
French
literally
nationalism for Franks?
so this conversation is basically over because any historical example I'm going to give you, you're going to say, how do you know they were acting in tribal interest? Dude, everybody act in tribal interest everywhere, especially before the civil rights
If you're
movement. That
using, but
literally that was a
oh my
universal,
gosh.
dude. That was a universal. That was a
In light,
universal.
if you're literally trying, if you're trying to make the statement that like certain things, like the founding fathers, once again, they're not dumb people. They know how the Constitution can be interpreted. They know that people are going to back at this, and
You
you're
think
trying to
they
say
thought a
they
Haitian or a Venezuelan would be reading their constitution in Congress in 200? You think they thought that?
potentially
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. You know that's not true.
yes.
No, okay, dude. So hold on, real quick. Please check. Is anybody in the comments? Is anybody listening right now? Can I get somebody's opinion on this?
Can I get somebody's opinion on this?
Am I insane? Am I going
Do you
insane? Is
really
this guy
think?
not just devil's advocate?
Do you really
You
wait? Do you
just
really
hold
think,
on? No,
guys?
no, no.
Wait, do you really think the
You
founding
just
fathers
said
were dumb enough?
you just said that you don't know if they may have wanted Venezuelan or Haitian citizens in the future. Are you fucking serious? Are you
Yeah,
serious?
there were mixed Creole people in
Unbelievable.
Louisiana who were
Unbelievable.
citizens.
Unbelievable.
There were mixed Creoles in Louisiana who were citizens. Not even
I
a
have
century.
nothing to say.
Not even a century later. Too.
You are the most ahistorical person I've
There
ever
were
spoken
literally.
to
Wait,
in my life.
am I going insane? Were there not like mixed Creole people
You are
in
literally the
Louisiana?
most ahistorical
Wait,
person I've ever
is
spoken
something
to in
wrong
my
with what I'm
life.
saying right there? Are there not mixed Creole people
I'm
in
just I
Louisiana?
don't.
Not even century. Okay, cool. You're gonna ignore that one too, aren't you?
I'm actually at a loss for words. I'm not even kidding.
Like, do you think the founding fathers were dumb enough to not write things in the Constitution that they thought weren't going to be like important to the founding and integral to like keep the country how they want it to be?
They thought you were chattel, and you think that they would have given you a benefit of the doubt. It's hilarious, man.
I literally said what I thought they were.
The fact that you actually said straight face that you don't know if George Washington and crew would have, they may have wanted Haitian or Venezuelan citizens of America in the future. That is so absurd. It doesn't even deserve a response.
So you're just gonna refuse to argue?
There's nothing I can say to you. No matter how many historical examples I give you, you're literally just going to say every time, how do you know what they were thinking? Okay, dude, like
Cool.
I
That's what we're
can't go inside.
arguing. Yeah, no shit.
Okay, yeah, because dude, like I don't know, maybe the fact that not a
If you
single.
literally
Okay,
just
okay,
gave me
hold
like a
on.
list of
Okay, so
quotes
like I
from
can't
all the
even answer
founding
you.
father,
I
from
guess
like
I guess I
majority of
can't
founding fathers
even
saying this, then I would literally believe
can't even
you.
answer you. By the way, guess I can't even
Like,
answer.
yeah.
Well, maybe we can infer from the fact that not a single European nation on the planet allowed citizenship to or mass citizenship to any non-white people. And maybe that we can start with that. Start with the fact that every European globally only created nations for their posterior, no matter where they were. I mean, like, are you just ignoring that? Are you just going to like conveniently ignore that and act stupid, or like, how about you let some other people up? Let's hear what they have to say.
I don't think there's like I don't think racism didn't. I'm not like denying the fact that like racism exists or like how the founding. I'm not even denying that. I'm not even denying the fact that a lot of founding fathers even believed it.
Let Kazar and Base shut up.
I'm not even denying the fact that I don't think a lot of people like believed this at the time. What I'm saying is that the founding fathers would have known that like the Constitution would have been something people would have been looking back at, and that things can change over time, and that being a white ethno state was like the founding thing they wanted it to define what an American is, and not like liberal values, which is what they actually put into the Constitution. Then they would have said so.
And liberal values means transgenderism and gun control, or
no,
is
liberal
that modern
value.
day,
No,
or is that,
liberal means.
what do you think that
No.
means, dude? Like, what do you think that?
So, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness or property.
They want that for you.
Those are the liberal values behind the Constitution.
Did they want it for you?
Yeah, some of them did.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
Yeah. Does it feel good? Do you feel good to lie like that? Does it make you feel better?
No, I'm just not lying.
Yeah, I mean, like, if my history basically started with being enslaved, I would be upset too. I understand that's a tough history. I get it. Your people were not kings. They were enslaved and they were chattel, and then
Oh
they
my
got
gosh,
rights in
I'm not.
America.
Why are you making this about
But
my
no, but I'm
race,
saying I
bro?
understand that it's hard. You have to cope. Literally, I'm sorry. And like that sucks, man. It does. But you should try to be proud of your African ancestry. I mean, like you don't have to lie and act like white people accepted you. They didn't. They
Bro,
never accepted you.
dude. Wait,
They
hey, but
never
bro,
accepted you.
I'm the most
They
white motherfucker here. Okay, I was
they
adopted by
didn't.
white
No,
people.
you're
I was
not. No,
raised by
you're
white people.
not.
I was raised in a white
No,
white
you're
neighborhood. I
not
was
white.
raised in a white high
You're
school.
not.
I am. Huh?
I am a white person. I'm telling you, you're not white. However, right? Listen, you can say whatever you want. That does not change the history. Our founding fathers were effectively white nationalists in any sense of the word, because every white person was a white nationalist back then. Because that was just tribal. Every person was tribal. The modern term of white nationalist is only used against white people. Why do you think that is? Because they are seen as a threat when they link up and kind of have a collective nationalistic, ethnocentric base. Black people don't care if they're nationalists. Japan is one of the most xenophobic countries in the world. Nobody cares. But when European
I
people
care.
get nationalist, oh yeah, yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
you're protesting in the
no.
streets against Japan,
Huh?
aren't you? Yeah,
Japan
are you
fucking
protesting in the
sucks.
streets against
Japan
Japan?
sucks.
Are you protesting against them in the street?
No, I also don't live in Japan. And Japan also isn't like the most powerful country in the world either. So it might be more relevant to talk about the U.S.
Oh yep. Let's just talk about white people. Let's just. If you
Japan,
believed in diversity, if you believe in diversity, why is it only pushed in white countries? Why don't you care that it's not pushed in the
it
Middle
should be
East or
pushed in
Asia?
Japan too. Japan fucking
Yeah, but
sucks
it's
for what it
not. But
does.
it's not.
It
Why?
should
Why
be.
isn't it?
I
Why
don't know why
isn't
you
it?
try to what you're being by
Hey,
hypocrisy. I don't
why
like
isn't it?
Japan.
Hey,
Huh?
but why isn't it? Hey, but why isn't it though?
Why isn't it? Because most white countries are extremely liberal, and most liberal countries are pushing for diversity. There you go.
Do you know where modern liberalism comes from?
In Enlightenment ideals and of the founding fathers, which then push into like what we are now. Yeah.
Modern liberalism, I said. Modern.
What do you think? You're gonna say Jews?
Civil rights, gay
Uh,
rights, mass immigration, gun control, all of these different things. That comes from Jews, in large part. It does, because the Frankfurt School, Theodore Adorno,
okay,
Max
bro.
Horkheimer, Herbert
Okay.
Marcuse, and the New Left. Herbert
Herbert
Marcuse and the New
Marcuse,
Left.
cool, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, real quick, how about you let Kesar and Chase Butt and Base shut up real quick? Let them up. Let's get another opinion real quick. Come on, you think that I'm like a fool? Let's hear what they have to say.
Cool. Two people said something. Totally. Absolutely.
I'm just I didn't say anything. They're asking to come up. I'm saying you should let them up. Come on, yeah, this guy's sending you roses. This guy's sending you money, man. Come on, let him up.
Why?
Thank you very much. I'll be very quick, don't worry. First I want to say is I don't necessarily agree with what Last Dance says, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna, hold on one sec, let me fix my mic.
Okay, you have to take the bribe, I guess. The 3v1? True.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Everything?
Hello, I'll be quick. Thanks for letting me up. What I just wanted to cut to the chase and say was I don't agree with Last Dance per chance, but when it comes to the original argument that was being made, where you said like, the founding fathers or the United States originally, or like at any time wasn't, like sort of anti-non-white immigration, you could just look at the Chinese Exclusion Act, the Johnson-Reed Act of
That wasn't my
1924. Well, it kind of was though, but basically
The
all these
argument
pieces of
is that like
legislation.
the argument is that America wasn't founded to be a white nation, right? That's why the founding fathers didn't put that in the Constitution. If they thought it was so important, they would have,
All right.
and they would have put it in founding documents, and that they didn't
All right.
even they didn't even put it in like founding documents that weren't even legally binding because it wasn't
All right,
important
now-
enough. Because they believed in
The
liberal
Naturalization Act of
Enlightenment ideals.
1790 was legally binding until they all died, and it was repealed. It was repealed when they were all dead. They were all
But that
dead.
wasn't that wasn't a founding act.
It was legally binding, and it was
That wasn't.
repealed when they all were dead.
The qualifier there was founding documents.
But they
dumbass.
did explicitly make multiple
Holy
legal
shit.
rulings on the basis of race. Even the founding
I'm
fathers
not denying
did,
the
and you're
fact they
ignoring
did,
that.
but I'm saying they didn't put it in
Okay,
founding
so we
documents
know
because they
what-
didn't think it was
so we know
important
what
to
they
define
think.
as an American.
So we know exactly what they think, and you're still being obtuse.
Yeah, that was a good goalpost move.
You literally admitted, you have conceded that they literally thought that only white people should be citizens. All the founding fathers that signed the Naturalization Act of 1790, by the time it was repealed, they were all dead. Everybody
Okay,
that
so
signed it was dead.
why, without disputing
That's just
what
like
you're
not
saying,
disputing like the argument I made.
why
Because the
does it matter though what they thought?
Well, because people are inherently tribal, and actually, a big problem
Like
today is
none
that
of
white
the
people
bitches
aren't
you just
anymore.
gave, I said.
Is that white people aren't anymore, and so when you actually find is that modern liberalism is inherently anti-white, modern leftist
You
is
have to use
it's
words. So
inherently anti-white, and so you find that when you have mass amounts of non-white immigrants, they vote overwhelmingly Democrat, and also these ideologies that they hold are inherently not just anti-white, but it's basically just like a primitive version of I want what you have, give it to me. They don't really understand that it takes hard work and innovation and brilliance and community. They think it's kind of like magic soil and think it's like, oh, you have resources, give it to me. That's what happened in Rhodesia when they gave it to Mugabe. They gave over a first world nation within 30, 40 years. They had a $30 trillion bill. You can look at South Africa. In 30 years, Johannesburg has been turned to a dump. It's one of the most dangerous places on the planet. You can go on and on. There's plenty of examples. The thing is that a nation is defined by its people. Demographics are destiny. So when you track it, Scratch wanted to be completely oblivious about this, act like it didn't really matter. The reason that Lyndon Baines Johnson had to come out and reassure the public, not that he is necessarily the redefining voice of the white race, but he had to redefine the American public that was 90% white at the time. Hey, this will not massively change the demographics, because that worried people, because they saw what would happen. And then it did. Okay. And guess what? Since the 1960s, how do you gauge how a society is doing? Is it, average income for a citizen, average test scores, illegitimacy rate, welfare rate or lack thereof, divorce rate, etc.? Well, all of those things have plummeted in terms of an individual scale, right? And an individual basis since the 60s. All of our big cities are hellholes. You can't walk through them. You think it's you want to talk about sundown towns? I can't go to Detroit as a white person. I'll get killed or robbed for the color of my skin, but no one wants to talk about that. They'll be killed because I'm associated with money. That's how they see it in the hood. Okay, they will kill me just for how I look. You don't really find that with black people, despite what BLM told you. Okay, so again, we can go on and on. I can give you plenty of examples of what we're talking about. Demographics are destiny, and that's why that matters. Because when you start to say, last thing I'll say, even Ronald Reagan in the 80s, okay, conservative, said anybody can be an American, okay? And what that does is that basically makes it so there is 8 billion unrecognized, undocumented Americans. Okay,
Well,
so I mean that just erases all identity. Okay,
could I say one
I
thing real
mean,
quick?
if I could just say real
what
quick,
crime is?
that is a highly refined rhetoric, man. Apart from the content, which I'll withhold judgment for a second here, because I think a lot of what you said is interesting.
19 makes sense.
But
Like,
well
okay,
delivered. That's all I'm saying.
I just
Yeah,
want
appreciate
to
that.
respond. I just want to respond. I made a specific argument that if like people think if you're like founding a country and you're founding something, you're gonna like put the founding values of that country in those founding documents. And one of those things, and what you guys are trying entire argument here is that okay, America was founded to be a white nation. Well, if America was founded to be a white nation, they would have put in the founding documents instead of contesting. That's what they're point. Like, oh well, yeah, they would have put it in the founding documents, or oh well. Something else, you say, oh well, they put it in a different document. That tells me it wasn't important enough. They didn't think it was important enough for what they thought America was to actually put it in the Constitution, put in legislation, something they would know because they're not fucking dumb. Can be repealed. It wasn't.
Do you live in reality?
That's because
Do
that's because what the founding fathers thought was most important to somebody being an American, right?
But do you
Was
live in
believing
reality,
liberal
though?
Enlightenment
But
values.
do you live in reality? Do you live in real life?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, yeah. So again, like let's just like allow me let's play this logic out for a second. Nearly 200 years later, this nation was founded in 1776. Nearly 200 years later, in the 1960s, 1950s, the same ancestors, the same posterior, the white Americans, literally had to be. Hold on, let me finish.
That's
dude.
not
Jesus.
true. You know that's
Let
not
me-
true.
let-
Most Americans came over here way after
Okay,
that.
well, okay,
That's
well,
not
okay,
even
well, sure.
true.
Okay, well, hold on, okay, yeah, well, yeah, sure, but I'm saying,
Okay,
yeah,
I'm
you're
an
right.
FBA here. Okay.
Okay,
You
okay,
guys
okay,
are
dude.
all immigrants.
Okay, dude. Can I? Okay, yeah, like okay, yeah. Obviously, way a lot of people came over, but still, white people in America. Okay, they had to be desegregated at gunpoint. The National Guard had to come in. Okay, it's almost 200 years later. Stop acting like they viewed racial relations equally. No, they didn't. Like, what world do you live in, dude? Like,
Right. I agree with
That's
the
not,
last
like,
stand.
the
here.
funny the
Wait,
funny thing is that
Scratch, Scratch, can I please say
black
something,
people
bro?
literally had black
Can I
people
please
literally
say
had like
something, bro?
black people were literally U.S. citizens before most white people came into the country. Okay, go ahead.
No, they okay. Listen.
That is
One thing I
true.
just wanted to respond to last stance on. I agree with this point about like the U.S. being exclusive, But on his point about like the majority need, you know what I mean, like a country needing to be homogeneous for it to be successful. Singapore is one of the safest countries in the world, and it is one of the most diverse countries on the planet. It has Chinese people, Malays, Indians. It has even some Africans. So like that point you made, it kind of depends more on the government, less the demographics.
Unfortunately, Kasar actually fits perfectly into what I'm saying, actually, because and the Africans, by the way, very, very small in numbers, very, very small. Not at least compared to Asians, but dude, listen, the Asian populations you named tend to be pretty high IQ, similar to Europeans. And what you find is that it is like you have homogenous nations in Africa, in other places, in certain places of South Asia, of the South America, and
Well,
there's
Singapore's
still
Singapore's
But
40% Indian.
the UK,
yeah.
I guess, like,
Well,
if you
I
want to
mean,
say like Great Britain, when it was an empire, was it homogenous, at least in the main island? Yeah, but it was
yes,
an
only
inherently
white people were
yeah,
there.
but the Commonwealth as a whole was super fucking
They
diverse.
were
And had
not
to call
Commonwealth people weren't granted citizenship till the 1960s.
whether the grand citizens or not, they had to draw on the resources from literally everybody else to actually like be able to operate as a nation, and
So
they were
they can't
hugely
have
successful.
borders now. What's your point? So they can't have borders. So
Hey, can I
What
ask
that was my
last stand
that literally
a
wasn't my
question that I
that literally
I'm
wasn't my
being
like
facetious.
that was
You
literally
really you have no social cues. You know
well,
that?
I think we're not going to agree on this ethno state thing, but I'm really curious, last stand, what
Yeah.
you think should be done with obviously
I'm
the
not
borders
curious.
have to be closed, right? Obviously, immigration needs to be stopped for a good few decades, if not 50 years. But what's your proposal for people within the United States who
Affiliate.
aren't white?
We're not talking about. I don't care what he thinks about what should happen to non-white people in the United States.
Well, it'll give me a little bit of a better understanding of where he's coming from and what his ideas
Well,
are.
I mean, listen. I think that um, for significant action, it'd be hard to tell, right? It would be hard to kind of predict that, especially over TikTok. Who knows what would happen? A lot of big political movements, revolutions are oftentimes violent, sporadic. You never know, right? But that being said, I think that people talk about illegal immigration, but legal immigration is by far the biggest issue. When
Well,
you
yeah, I
find
mean, I said we should shut that down for
Oh no,
50
no, actually,
years.
yeah, and you just
So,
that. But the thing is, right, is that like even with the Constitution as an example, when I hear that we're a constitutional republic, we're constitutionalists, it seems to me, right, and I'm not saying burn it all down necessarily, but it seems that the Constitution is really only invoked when it's to strangle me. I feel that I'm only 20 years old, but I only ever hear the Constitution when I'm being told just how I cannot do something. You can't do that, white man, because actually that's racist. That goes against this. You can't do that. You need to return these deported illegal immigrant criminals.
right,
You
right.
need to return them, right? And what you find, right, is that what you actually it's incredible. The president has more power.
Well, I want to circle you back though to a more concrete answer about
Yeah.
what you do with the non-white people in America.
Well, here's what I'm saying, right? I mean, I was trying to get to that, but I get your point.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm saying is essentially that like there is not really a political solution, okay? Because we can't vote our way out of this. The electorate's 57% white. What are we going to say? Hey, we want everyone to repatriate home. That's legal. They'll never do that. Why would they? They have a perfect situation here. They have endless resources essentially being extracted by the dead corpse of the white middle class, and they're perfect. They don't want to go back to their countries, and it's what I would call as judicial warfare. There's millions of
Doesn't
backed up
make
asylum
sense.
claims from any country.
Okay, so
So
you're
it's just a
saying
whole-
you're saying
Like if we look,
it would have to be
it doesn't make sense. If we look at the Cato data over the lifetimes.
Okay,
immigrant-
Cato.
Can we look at Cato? Can I use Cato? Fine, I will. Look, we don't.
Cato.
Fine, we won't use Cato.
They hate white
well,
people.
hold on.
Fine, if you look
last
at
stand,
the meta analysis from Harvard from Karen, for the
So
Karen
last
couple,
stand-
they looked at like
Why,
immigrants.
dude?
and,
Let
like,
him finish
over the
his question,
lifetime.
bro. Let him finish his question. He's
I'm
asking
just
something,
making
right?
this. I'm just making a point because they're
Dude,
factually
hold on.
wrong.
He's in the
You're
middle of
factually wrong.
asking
Like
something.
I'm just.
No, I
talking-
was interrupting.
Can I?
Go ahead, Scratch.
Can I?
Go
I'm
ahead,
just citing a
Scratch.
meta-analysis. I'm just citing the Harvard meta-analysis that said over the lifetime, immigrants fiscally are slight like benefit to America.
Hey, it doesn't define by race, bro. That's a big part. Doesn't differentiate by race. Big part.
You said immigration. So if you have a problem with immigration, that means you think the
yeah.
majority of
European
immigrants.
immigration is not.
That means okay.
European immigration is not.
Okay, so if you think so
Hold on, let's
if the
try to-
study if the meta-analysis is looking at immigrants and the majority
Okay,
and
but
your
dude, hold
problem
on.
with
Can he
immigration
finish his question?
and your
Then?
problem with
Hold on.
immigration is the
Wait,
majority
dude,
of immigrants
pause
are
it.
not almost all
Can you
immigrants
let
are
the guy
non-white,
finish his
then it
question?
shouldn't
I'm gonna
fucking
forget what
matter,
he was.
dumbass.
Okay,
It's just
cool.
I was sort of pursuing a line of thought, and really trying not to get distracted by other issues. So what I was asking you is, what concretely would you do if the non-whites in the United States? Then you mentioned politically, you didn't think it was possible to do. You didn't actually specify what, but
Mass
I think
deportations,
mass
even,
deportations, right? Okay, so
especially of legal
so that
immigrants.
there
Yeah.
wouldn't be the political will for it. But I guess, yeah, you just answered my question, which would be what mass deportations of all non-whites.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, obviously, it seems like a pipe dream. I think it would be very, it would be a hard case to present, for example, for African Americans. Like, oh, how do you, deal with that? But the thing is that, listen, like, I'll just be very upfront with you, okay? It's repatriation, or your country and your people will wither away and die. That's literally the only two options. Repatriation is the kind option, okay? And I don't say that because I'm a radical. I don't want any violence. I'm saying that because if I say this now as somebody who isn't violent, and in the future they will be, okay, whoever it is. And I'm telling you is that repatriation, whether it's in Europe or here, it is the only way to maintain a society and a cohesive people. Europeans are 7% of the global population. Notice diversity is pushed everywhere they are globally, not just in their ancestral homeland, in Canada, America, New Zealand, Australia. And within 100, 200 years, there will be no countries they call home anymore that they're a majority. So at that point, that is literally
Okay.
genocide. They will not exist.
That's
okay?
not what genocide is.
Well, first of all, we're never.
UN does not define genocide as that. Stop using buzzwords. You know that doesn't apply,
Well,
right? Second of all,
There is 1.5 billion of you people in Africa. You have a fucking home if you want it.
dude, this how is that my home? Wait,
Because all of
do you
your
think
kin
that
are there.
wait? Do you think that black people have a more similar culture to the average white person in America, or more similar culture to the average sub-Saharan black person?
I mean, considering you have failed in white society,
Can you answer that? Can you answer that question?
You're closer to Africans.
That's not true.
That's true. That's just bullshit. You're just being dumb right now.
In terms of how
Wait,
you
wait,
behave in
wait,
society.
do you think
Even
wait,
the
wait,
most
and wait,
ghetto Baltimore gangs are still more
Yeah, that's
American
not
than.
Wait, and by the way,
In
do you
terms
think?
of
Wait,
Africa, it's
wait.
actually really
Last
not.
dance. Do you think that me, who was fucking adopted by white people and raised in a white neighborhood in a white school, is closer to fucking sub-Saharan Africans or white people?
I didn't say individually. I didn't say you.
I
I'm saying as a
just wonder. Like, it just.
population. I know. I'm
you
talking about
literally
the
been calling me
population
out as an
because you guys
individual
are
the entire
incredibly
time.
violent. You are a massive net negative economically.
I did rape your mom. I'm sorry about that.
Whoa.
Well,
What the-
yeah,
I didn't do
showing
that.
your
Completely
colors,
uncalled
by the
for.
way.
I didn't mean
That's
I didn't mean
uncalled for.
Hey, not violent, by the way. Hey,
That's
hey,
uncalled for.
Hey, this is
Scratch.
like
That
this is
is,
like the
I agree.
white black guy, by the way. Not violent, just threatening to
Scratch.
rape white
You
women.
completely just
Whoa.
lost yourself the entire debate with that one. I'm not gonna lie.
Nice. Yep,
That's
yep.
horrific.
Can hardly
That's one of the worst
restrain
forms of
himself
literacy,
talking
bro.
about raping white women. It's just
Look,
this
bro.
is the this is
All
this,
right, we get
oh,
it.
is
That's
that not what you did?
that's my look. No, I was just
Get it.
look. No,
No, that's
look,
bad,
look,
man.
look. It was
That's
just my primal.
unacceptable.
It's just
Thank you for vindicating
it's just my
that point,
primal.
Scratch.
It's just my primal instincts coming out. That
You know
Lance
what's
was
hilarious?
Scratch.
talking
A
about.
guy
What do you
told me
mean?
he wanted
Oh
like
man, you
a guy said the
guys
same.
crack me up.
A different black guy
Scratch,
said to
you're
me
a
last night.
fucking idiot. This guy's a fucking idiot. Scratch.
Nah, Scratch
sorry,
is
lad.
Scratch is a smart dude, but hey, I
No,
have
he's not.
I
He's a
have
fucking
a
idiot.
follow up question. So it sounds like you don't necessarily have like an answer in your head that would be like a practical answer.
Oh no, I do actually. I'm sorry, I was just kind of yapping a little bit.
Okay.
Essentially, basically, forced removal, mass
Right. Well,
forced
but
removal.
you admit that that's not very practical.
I said it is impossible essentially within the current political system. Is what I said.
Right. So things would have to change radically in this country for it to be
would.
actually practically possible. Gotcha.
Yeah. But
Well-
listen, I say that I understand exactly how unrealistic in the current sense it is. I understand that, but I'm telling you, it's like I've looked into it, and I truly do not believe I'm overreacting. Like if you look at the European diaspora, everywhere they live on the planet, it's the same thing everywhere. You cannot run, you can't move to countries because diversity is coming for you. Okay, so what I'm saying is, eventually, you
It's coming
literally
for
will
you.
not have. It is. You will not have.
Really,
any
are like
areas where
like
you wanna be.
Hispanics moving in? Like, wow, I
Scratch,
can't wait to get
scratch,
out all these
stop.
white people.
So I want to tell you where I agree with you, last stand.
Yeah.
I think when you look at purely outcomes of civilizations, there's no doubt that Western civilization is the superior civilization.
Who built it?
Purely when you look at outcomes, right? And if you don't believe me, look up at the moon and ask yourselves who's been up there, right? So it's as easy as looking up at the heavens. But having said all that, I guess the question is can people assimilate into the Western culture, the Western civilization, who weren't basically bred in that civilization? And you seem to be answering no, right?
There's a caveat there. There's a caveat within your kin. and there is some exceptions, for example. And here's my view. I'll be
Oh
direct
my
here. Okay.
gosh.
I think there's two types of immigration. Okay, there is immigration in large part is very harmful, really, especially when it's not outside of your race. There's individual exceptions, sure, but as a whole, you're not really going to benefit if you mass import Latin Americans or Africans or Australian Aboriginals. You're
Why,
not going to benefit from that as a
why
society.
not Latin
However,
Americans?
hold on. However, on the other side, okay, I still oppose it for a different reason, but like Japanese immigrants, as an example, would be very beneficial economically. But the reason I don't support that is because they literally are skilled enough where I don't want them to take a lot of jobs from my people. I just look out for my people first because that's what everyone else
Oh,
is
and he has
doing.
no understanding of the economy either.
Oh yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God! Wait,
Well,
you understand that when
Well,
immigrants come
wait,
into the
wait,
country?
Scratch.
Wait,
Can I say one thing?
wait, you
Can I say
understand
one
when
thing,
immigrants?
dude? Come on.
Just
Let me say one thing.
fine, go
Let me
ahead.
say one
One
thing,
thing.
please. I'll be quick. The one thing I will say, I just want to get this out there with Last Stand. When we talk about diversity coming to Europe or for white people, I think it's important. We just had mentioned the fact that a lot of these people, right, from like Somalia or Afghanistan or Iraq, they're really fleeing instability that, if we're being honest, was caused by Western nations invading their countries and stealing their resources. We have to be honest with ourselves.
okay, so can I tell you the problem with that logic?
What's wrong with it?
You know,
Before you do, can I
yeah,
answer the question
Oh
that
my
I asked
gosh.
you?
yeah. Go ahead.
Because I feel like I didn't really get an answer. I'll answer it, which is that I think if white people formed Western civilization and white people evolved differently over 40,000, 50,000 years
Can
from
we
the
stop
Asians
this?
and the Africans and so forth,
Oh
so
my
much that their
God.
skin changed, right? Is it crazy to believe that the
Wow.
culture that they formed was selecting for the kind of people who would do better in that culture?
Absolutely.
And I would say the same for Asian culture and African
Okay,
culture
In
and
fact,
South
there's actually a
American
very
culture.
there's a very
I just need to
interesting
start. I
theory
just
to
need to
actually
start.
back
Sorry,
up what
one.
you're
That's not
saying.
how. That's right. That's not how economics works. When immigrants come to the country to push up the demand, when you push up
Dude,
demand,
what are
you
you
need to.
talking about? Let us
You
finish our
literally said that you
exchange.
don't want people coming to the country and taking their jobs, but that doesn't make any sense because immigrants create more jobs because they push
I
up with the
thought I was
demand.
asking
Because
about
more
Let me
demand in the
go
supply sector. Supply
because
sector has
we
to
didn't have an
increase.
economy when we were 90% white, right?
As
50
an
years
increase.
ago, we
That's
didn't have an
not what I
economy.
said. That's
Hey,
not
we
what I
actually didn't
said.
have an economy before mass
That's
immigration.
not what I
Guys. We
said.
actually
Notice
didn't.
how you're being disingenuous and not
I'm
addressing
being
points. Everything.
facetious because what you're saying is fucking stupid. It hardly
Really?
deserves
Wait.
a
Do immigrants
response
put
because
demand? Wait. Do immigrants buy goods and
over
services?
50% of legal
Do
immigrants
immigrants
are on
put?
welfare.
Do immigrants put
Have they
buy
helped
goods
New
and
York City? New
services?
York City's
Do
40%
immigrants buy
foreign
goods and
born.
services? Yes or no?
Hey, yeah, they take more
So
from the
do
system than we
immigrants
pay.
put demand on the
They take
economy?
more.
Yes or no?
They take more.
Do
They take
immigrants
more than
put
they pay.
demand on the economy? Yes or no?
They take more from the
Do
economy than they
immigrants
pay.
put demand on the
I
economy?
answered you.
Yes or no?
I answered. They took
You
more
did
from
not
the
answer the
economy than they
question.
pay.
Do immigrants
Scratch,
put
you're
more
tilted,
demand on the
man.
economy?
You're
I am tilted
tilted.
because you didn't want to answer the questions.
I
Wait,
know.
fine, you know what?
Take,
You know what? I'm not. No what? Fuck,
take a
fuck you. I'm
breather,
just gonna
man.
study. I'm just gonna study spam at you. You can look at the you can look at the Cato Institute.
Hey,
You can
look
look
at
at
the
all the Harvard
different
studies.
outcomes
You
that
can look at
doesn't
the
prove
huh? You can look at
Hey,
sorry.
look
You
at
can
the
look at the.
simple numbers that prove different outcomes. That doesn't prove any systemic racism at all. It just proves different outcomes. This proves
I
my
just
point, right?
wait. I'm sorry. So wait.
Oh,
So
your
when I
only proof is outcome. Your only proof is outcome. You just look at the numbers raw, and you don't account for
well, I'm not looking at the numbers
situation.
wrong. When I look at when we're
Raw. I
looking at
said
meta
raw.
analysis,
I said raw. The
I'm not looking
raw
at raw
numbers. You don't look
numbers.
at anything else. Okay,
I'm
dude,
looking
because
at
I'm
raw
telling you,
numbers.
dude, because listen, these ideas, like white people won't pick in the farms, they won't pick, they won't in the field, like, dude, no,
That's
they
not the
won't do it for
argument I'm
slave.
making. Wait, do you think
They
these
won't.
studies
Okay,
are just taking raw numbers?
dude.
Do you
Okay,
think
okay,
a
but so-
meta analysis? Wait,
hold
what do you
on,
think?
hold
How do you
on,
think a
okay.
meta analysis works? Do you think a meta analysis is just taking raw numbers and like
How
throwing
do
out
you
random
gauge
statistics?
how somebody's doing in an economy? We can look at things like average income. We can look at things like welfare rate. Like if you look at something like like SNAP as an example, only like not even 1 in 10 white people are on SNAP. 1 in 4 black people are on SNAP. It's like 1 in 6 Hispanics or something like that. If you look at average income, you see that there is very, very few groups that even earn more than the average white American, accounting all Europeans together as one. The average white American, right? There's like
It's not
a
addressing
couple.
any of
It's
the
like
points I was making.
it's like Japanese,
This is
Koreans,
not like
and like
this is
Indian.
not like addressing. This is just not addressing any of the points I'm making.
They
right?
they don't perform better than
no,
white
you're just not.
people.
You're
They
just.
don't-
I wasn't making the claim that they were performing better than white people. I was saying that they're benefiting the economy. I don't know.
No,
like,
they're
what-
not actually because they take more.
wait.
They-
No, they're not. Like when we. So
Yeah, they
once again,
are.
look,
They
you can
are.
deny the meta analysis. You can deny the most of the academic community.
Well,
the fact
hold
is,
on, you cited
no,
the
you can
Cato
do that.
study
You
earlier.
can do
Hold
that.
on, I'll tell you right
You
now.
do
Here's
that.
the problem with one, right? You cited the Cato study earlier. Are you talking about the one that just came out like last week, saying that actually immigrants are an economic benefit? Is that the one you're talking about? The one that came out like last week?
No, I'm talking about the one
Oh,
where they
okay,
measured
okay,
the
well,
fiscal
hold on.
impact on the government. No,
Okay, well,
that was the one
let
I
me say this
cited.
real quick, right? There was
That
a
wasn't the one I
Cato
was talking
study.
about.
there's a Cato study that came out last week about the same topic, and it was like went viral, right? And it was saying that immigrants are an economic benefit to the United States, and in the proof it was quoting, right, was looking at, like, and by the way, did not differentiate by race, which is a huge factor, by the way, a huge factor. If you're
Differentiate by race.
if no, but listen, if you're including all white immigrants and in the select few Asian immigrants in there, that's going to massively artificially boost the numbers, because
Mhm.
most immigrants at this point are from non-Eastern Asian or European countries. Okay, so that's already dishonest. But beyond that, it would count things like right. If you had a mass influx of immigrants into a community, it would take not just the
You know
immigrants'
what?
taxes themselves, but it would take the raised taxes of the citizens surrounding them as an economic boost from the immigrant. The elevated taxes from the immigrants moving in on the citizens were counted as immigrant contributions. There's other things again, but again, dude, if you look at immigrants, it needs to differentiate by race.
You know what? You're right. You do need to differentiate. Let's look at Hispanic, Latino, labor participation rate compared to white people. Oh wait, it's way higher. They actually work way more and are more likely to actually have jobs. Oh my gosh, it's so wow. The lazy white people are the ones who are ruining America, and Hispanic Latinos are coming in to save the day.
You are
Wow.
you are just
Let's
absurd.
go.
You don't live in reality, dude.
Wait,
Like,
what did I
it's
wait?
incredible.
What did I say that was wrong there?
What you say that's wrong? It's the white people that are acting lazy. What did Hispanics innovate in this country?
Wait, what did I say? No,
manually. Hold on,
wait.
hold on, no,
Wait,
no,
what was
no,
wrong
no,
about the
no,
data
no.
I just brought up?
No, hold on, because let me ask
What
you a
was wrong about
question.
the data I just brought up?
You didn't care about any of the intrinsic points I made
What was
earlier.
the
So
wrong?
I
Wait,
have
what
no
was
fucking
what was
no. I
wrong
have
about
no
the data I
fucking
just brought
respect for
up?
this. I gave you endless studies earlier. You didn't inquire on one of them. I have no fucking
You literally
respect
didn't
for
give
this
me
study.
endless
You are
studies.
dishonest.
No, you did not.
I did. I gave you endless studies about crime rates, about welfare rates, about
No, you
historical
didn't. You
examples.
just said
I
the
gave you
crime. You
Rhodesia.
just talked. You know,
I
you just
gave
said
you
crime rates are
Rhodesia. I
higher.
gave you
You never
quotes from
said that.
historical examples. You're
You
just
never
being
said that.
hey Caesar.
You never said that. Now
Caesar,
you're
Can I
just
ask
being
a question?
disingenuous. Like I don't know. You
Can I
can
ask
keep
a
being
question?
disingenuous. Wait, you can keep being
Caesar,
disingenuous.
have I not cited many examples and studies? Actually,
You've
I
cited
swear I
examples.
have.
You haven't cited studies. No, you've not
Yes,
been
I
citing
have.
studies. No, you've
Yes, I
not.
have. I've cited crime rate studies. I've cited
Name one study.
talked about
Name wait.
welfare.
Name the title of the study. Name it.
I talked about the Bureau of Justice Statistics study earlier that found that black men aged 14 to 49, or 3% of the population, made up 43% of the homicide arrests over a 28-year
You
span in
never
America.
talked about. Okay.
Yes,
Now
I
you're
did. I
wrong.
mentioned that earlier. I
No, you
mentioned that
didn't.
earlier.
And why?
Yes, I-
Nor is that even
That
relevant
has
to
to
any
do with
subject
the
you're talking about.
so-called over-policing of black communities. The more police officers you have, the more reported crimes you have.
Well, when
And
you
not to
say
mention, they make up
over-police,
54% of exonerations.
okay, well, dude, exonerations, a large portion of exonerations for black people are for homicide, and the National Registry of Exoneration has tracked every black homicide exoneration since
I
1981.
don't really get it.
It's been just about 3,300. That's not even 1% of black homicide arrests over the time
If I
frame.
could just add one more thing real quick,
Yes.
though, the data you're relating to, I've seen them on the FBI website. Those are mostly only accounting for arrests. Just because you're arrested for a crime doesn't mean you haven't committed that crime.
Well,
You need to look at convictions.
Well, dude. Okay, first off, but it's like yeah, sure. In a vacuum, that's true. It's like similar. Like if I said like poverty causes crime in a vacuum, that's true. But like poverty might cause crime in the sense that you might steal something from the store. You might like maybe even something like a robbery. But like it doesn't make you like SA somebody. It doesn't make you commit a homicide, as an example. Similarly, right? Like just saying that it doesn't necessarily. It's not a one-to-one connection. When you say over policing, right? The problem is that like let's look at Asians. Okay, the reason that Asians are not over policed, even though they're not white people, is they have a lower violent crime rate than white people do. They are not white, okay? They are not, but they have a lower violent crime rate than white people. Okay, so but hold on, let me one more thing. This is pertinent. Okay, sorry. Let me ask you a
If I
question.
could just add, Asian Americans are the richest demographic in America. The
They are.
highest
They are.
median household income in
They
America
also
is
have the
Indian
highest
Americans.
IQ for any race on the planet. The Eastern Asians, specifically Koreans, Japanese, they have the highest IQ populations on the planet.
Right. What I'm trying to explain though is if we look at wealth, correlating with poverty. I'm sorry, with crime. My bad. White people, right, are on average not as wealthy as Asian Americans. So it would be plausible to say, right, that the Asian Americans would have a lower crime rate
They do.
because they're more wealthy.
I mean that's also. But that also
On
does that tell you
average.
something about like inherent skill though?
Also, like,
Is that not? No, but hold on, real quick. I did want to ask you a question.
oh my
Kayla,
gosh,
right?
no. Like, I'm gonna.
No.
you-
Hold on. I was literally, dude. I was about to ask him this,
Yeah,
and then I
yeah,
let him
alright.
ask me something. Okay, wait. So, Kazar, real quick, again, let's say hypothetically you're a cop, right? And again, if you're a cop, you're going to arrest anybody you see doing a crime, of course. That goes without saying, and we agree there. However, if let's say you're driving through a seedy area late at night, okay, not that you won't arrest anybody, because you will, but are you maybe going to keep your eyes peeled a little bit more for men or women? Which one's going to catch your eye a little bit more?
I understand where you're going with this. I would definitely look at the man, obviously.
Yeah, right. So that literally is profiling. Okay, so I would say there's inherently nothing wrong with that. Now I'll give you this last example real quick. Okay, as comparison, that would be gender or sex profiling, right? Comparatively, in Chicago in 2016, okay, the ACLU, which is a civil rights group, sued Chicago over stop and frisk, which is like a police policy. They said it disproportionately affects black people, so you should overturn it. Okay, and they said okay, they overturned it. The next year, fatal shootings jumped 66% in the city of Chicago. The very next year, when they stopped stop and frisk.
I'm
Okay.
gonna have to
Year is
ask for a
this?
source on
Wait,
that.
what year
Yeah,
is
yeah.
this?
I'm more than happy to.
Wait, what year is this?
He can just like put a link in chat.
No,
or
yeah, but
whatever. If
what year
it's-
is this? Because I find this is gonna
The
take place
lawsuit
during
was in
COVID.
2016. The crime jump was in 2017.
Mhm. Yeah, I just want to see a link for
Like-
that. That's all.
Yeah, I don't know like what specific Cato one you were talking about, but yeah, I was just citing the one Cato one that was looking at like fiscal impact.
But
of
I
the
mean, even
government.
just going
And then
back to the
I was
immigrant
also
thing,
looking like the National Bureau of Economic
overall.
Research has a panel that like looks over the
Scratch,
academic
scratch,
literature.
scratch.
Academic
Scratch.
literature. Can I fish?
Bro, you talk like what's his name, like Ben Shapiro, bro. You're like,
I do.
like
I
slow
know
down.
that looks. I know, but it
Just
just
let people talk.
it looks up.
Like,
It
you
looks
shouldn't have said
over.
what you said.
Yeah, it looks over academic literature of like the fiscal impact that immigrants have to government, and found that generally they're slight physical positive. And then like you have the Harvard study, and then you have it was the one in Europe that was done recently, and it used like slightly different methodology. But they all came to the same conclusion that like immigrants are like a slight fiscal positive to the government. And then you can look at the one by the Kier couple. That's the other Harvard analysis that also found that immigrants like generally don't lower wages, don't long term don't displace people from their jobs. So it just seems like for the most part, like you're just looking at the economic part, what you're saying just isn't true. And I finally found a quote. It's from Samuel Adams. It was a government of laws, not men. Right.
Hey, Kazar, do you see that link?
It says like liberty lost is forever,
Yeah,
government
I'll check
laws,
it out
not
one
men.
sec.
Like even people like Samuel Adams were saying like this nation is founded on laws, the laws in the Constitution, like not men. Yeah, but a constitution of a government once changed from freedom can never be restored. Liberty once lost is forever, a government of laws and not men. So yeah, like the founding fathers really believe like the government, the founding thing of the government.
Interesting.
Is the
So
Constitution.
why were you legally considered chattel at the time then? Because white
In the
people
South?
were never considered. White people weren't considered less than human ever in any European country legally. So, why were black people?
In the South?
Again, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just pointing out you're just like being You're like coping, dude. You're just being ahistorical.
Well, it's just
like,
it's not cope, right? If what he's saying is
dude,
that
it is, bro.
No, it is.
Like no one's
if what
arguing
Samuel
your
if what
rights
Samuel
now.
wait,
Can I
sorry,
jump
if
in?
what- if what Sa- wait, if
For
what
some reason,
Samuel-
the URL came back as
Okay.
not appearing.
Okay.
Do you have
If
another
what
link?
Samuel-
It didn't
Oh,
show
well,
up.
hold on.
If what
Wait,
Samuel if what Sam sorry if
that's
what,
strange.
wait,
I had the
if
paper
what
open. on
Samuel if what
Google,
Samuel
just
Adams
now.
is saying like this government is a
You
government.
can just
send another one,
If
that'll work.
what Samuel is saying like what founds this government is the laws that we've written, right? And that is like what defines like what this government is about. And we're trying to say, okay, well, the government and the founding of the country is about white people, but that wasn't like explicitly put in the Constitution. There seemed to be that, okay, well then it isn't. And maybe there's some like on a state level, I guess at that time, and not until really 1790, because he by the way, he's explicitly talking about the Constitution in this quote. And then there's certain legislation passed that isn't in the Constitution. Then yeah, I guess that the culture at the time was that, but they seem to fundamentally believe that the Constitution and as a piece of document, as a legal document, is what defined like what the nation was. So yeah, that's what I would say in response to that.
Okay, so let me get this straight real quick, right? So, even though the nation was named after and discovered by Europeans, named after Amerigo Vespucci, discovered by Columbus, whatever, right? Even though it was inhabited almost exclusively by Europeans for hundreds of years, even though only Europeans could legally own guns and become citizens, even though all these different things, they could only run for Congress, only European men signed the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and all these other things, only European men were the innovators of the first 200 years of America. Despite all of that, despite the fact it took you over 150 years or whatever to gain citizenship in this country, despite all of that, right? Like you just claim that, well, I mean, clearly since they didn't define it in plain words,
saying
we
clearly
don't know
because-
what they meant.
Well,
We
because
don't know what they meant. You're
Huh?
just
No, I'm
being
saying no,
absurd,
no.
dude.
I'm
You're
just
just being
saying no.
absurd.
I
It's just
literally brought up
ridiculous.
I brought up a quote by Samuel Adams. But a
Yeah, dude, that was
constitution.
for white people. They
He
were
said about a
talking about
constitution of
white
a
people.
government.
They're
Wait.
talking
Then
about
why does he
white
say
people.
government of laws and not men? Why would he?
Yeah,
The
laws
race of
for
the
white
men.
people. Laws. Rome had courts too. Rome had courts too, bro. Like it
The
was all
God
white.
laws. A government of laws,
Dude,
not
it was
men.
laws for white people. Laws in a European socio-political entity. It's not that crazy of an
You're
idea,
saying
bro.
no. You think it's the opposite way
America
around. You
is.
think that America is defined by white people, and then white people made laws for white people.
Oh, they
saying
just
that
did everything here and inhabited it
that's
for
literally
200
what you're
years. That
saying. But
means
the quote
nothing
is,
now, right?
but the quote is laws and not men, as in the opposite way around. Which laws define men.
You are the exact. I guarantee you dishonest. I guarantee you're the type of dude who quotes like Emily Lazarus.
And like, by the way, if like by the way,
and-
you're the type of
okay.
you're the type of person to bring up one person pretends that like can vindicate their entire thing. You're the type of person to not realize that the founding fathers weren't. Like,
It was the
super
most
stupid.
monumental
You're the type. Wait, you're the type of
immigration
person. Wait, you're the type of
legislation ever
person.
passed, and
You're the
was
type of person to not. You're the type of person to not realize that the wealth aristocracy at the time were literally white wealthy people, and of course they're going to be the ones who are
They
making
thought
laws.
you were
No
less than
shit.
human, bro. They thought you were.
Guys,
Oh, last stand, if I
did
could
you
just
realize
say-
that the slaves
oh my
weren't part of the aristocracy writing the laws of the
They
Constitution? Who
thought
would
you
have
were
thought?
less than human.
You're less than human
Scratch,
right
he's
now.
not
Okay?
wrong
You're
there,
acting like a
Scratch.
subhuman.
You said you wanted to rape my mom earlier. I don't care what you say, dude.
That is kind of crazy. I mean,
That was
a last stand. If I could just jump in real quick.
Actually, that was.
I
wait,
checked
wait,
the.
you're wrong.
I typed
It
in
was-
that exact link that I pasted
sense.
below again, and it came up as like it said like let me look. Let me.
Oh wait, I got this one for you.
Yeah, if you could just try it again. I don't know why it's not working.
Oh my gosh.
Did you kick him,
Yep.
bro? Oh my. Okay, well, all right. Listen, I don't disagree with you. Like I'm not like I'm a leftist. You know what I mean? But like you shouldn't have said what you said, and you were kind of being a little argumentative. You know what I mean? Like.
Shit.
Yeah, like I understand what you're trying to like argue here, but like, you know, you have to be cordial and you have to be, you know,
No, I'm not being cordial.
like you have to be cordial
He
because
was
like,
being purposely
you know what I'm saying?
dishonest.
Okay, but like you do that by setting traps. You know what I mean? You lead them on. You say, oh, you that? Substantiate it. But you don't do it by just.
I
yelling
asked.
over
I would
them.
like
You know
ask
what
him
I'm
to
trying say?
substantiate it, and then he would like go back and walk the claim, and then he would like laugh
Hold up
when
one
I
second.
thought
I'm gonna
it.
look up
Like,
what he
it
said.
was super.
So what caused the 26? Hold up one sec. I'm gonna mute.
It
Hold
was
up.
super frustrating. Every single time.
I'll check it out. I'll check it out. One sec. Let me see this. What caused the? From what I've seen, it mostly credits a spike to a slashing of state funding to programs about nonviolence. I mean, I will, I'll give credit. I will say that probably when it comes to, like police being able to accurately, what's the word I'm looking for? You know what I'm saying? Like, to make sure people are safe. I could definitely say that's definitely a contribution. But it says it was mostly the slashing of the says, according to Google, at least, it calls it multifaceted. But I don't know if that's, you know what I mean. I mean, overall, my point, I was saying, it doesn't really change. You know what I mean? Like poor people, on average, we're talking on average. We're not trying to make any absolute statements, but on average, right? Poor people commit more crime than wealthy people, and this is across demographics.
Right.
Poor
I
white
probably
people
disagree
commit
with
more.
you. I don't.
You
It's
disagree
not
with
that
them?
big of. It's not that big of a deal to concede that black people commit crime disproportionately to white people.
Yeah, no, I didn't say they don't, but I'm saying there's reasons for it. It's not like
Oh yeah.
Like, dude, guess what? Ecuador has the highest homicide rate in the world. You can look it up, and guess what? It's because it's one of the poorest countries in South America. And even I know El Salvador. El Salvador used to be pretty bad, but their president has. I'll be honest, he's done a decent job. Like his big thing was arresting the people with tattoos, but also people don't know this, but he did a lot of community outreach. Like a lot of people, you know what I mean? Like they ignore that. They're like, he just locked everyone up. He also funded into the poor. He actually invested back into the poor communities. People kind of look over that. Anyway, listen, I've gotten my point across. I'm gonna bounce. Thank you. Bye.
I'll see you, bro. You want me to kick you? Okay. Oh my god.